The man who knew what he was doing. No, let me explain. Carl's being modest here. Yes, I had 4 years of experience. I had 17 months. I'm a Vietnam veteran. And I'm here. So it shows I know how to patrol. Because if I didn't know how, I wouldn't be sitting here with Carl today. But let me say this, we did spend a week teaching them how to become soldiers. And I want to tell you, they are great actors because as all good actors, Carl and all of them assimilated it tremendously. And I'll say this, because as the years have gone on, I've had my former Navy SEAL teammates tell me that Predator, the patrolling in Predator, is the most authentic they've ever seen in Hollywood. And this is coming from our best. Let me also put in there that I had to learn too, because we were not doing a documentary. We're doing a film where they're looking for camera angles. So you can't always be authentic when that happens. So I had to go through the learning process too, of understanding that they're looking for camera, I'm looking for authenticity. But Carl and all the actors were phenomenal, because a week later, I'll tell you this, by the time we got through with Predator, I would have gone on patrol with any one of them.
I laugh at that.
They learned well. They learned it well for a short course. They did very well.
And you know what? We would have done well if there were cameras around. But if there were real people, bad people shooting back at you, Jesse, you go in front, okay?
No, it was, doing Predator was a chance of a lifetime, because the good thing about it is, whenever Schwarzenegger Arnold does a film, his gym comes with. And what's great about him is he passes out the keys. He doesn't hold back. You want a key to the gym and work out. And what I used to do, I used to make sure I'd get up like 20 minutes before Arnold, and I'd get down to the gym and I'd splash myself full of water. So my shirt wouldn't be drenched and I'd be working out. And then Arnold has his buddy Sven with. It was like his bodyguard. Arnold and Sven would come down, they go, oh, we better get up sooner. They go, look, Jesse, the body's already been in here training. I'd only got there 5 minutes before and soaked myself in water to make it look good. But it was fun down there, because I was with a small group of actors who knew their jobs, and they did them tremendously. That's why we're here today. And my character, who else in the world could spit tobacco on Apollo Creed's feet and have it do not a damn thing about it? I bragged about that for years. I said, I'm the only man in the world that can spit on Apollo Creed's shoes and get away with it.
Did he get away with it?
Well, you know what, in all, I mean, really, that was really one of the best times I've had making a movie, because, and I was saying that to this young kid today, and it's true. How could you not enjoy going to hang out in the jungle with a bunch of guys? First of all, we're in Puerto Vallarta. What bad jungle, okay? We're right there in the city in this beautiful little hotel right on the ocean. I mean, you could hear the waves at night. That's how I'd fall asleep, listening to the waves lap up against the beach for 2.5 months. That wasn't bad. But, same wardrobe every day, sweaty, smelly, dirty, and a bunch of guys grab-assing. What could be more fun? I mean, we had a great time. At night, tequila. During the day, hey.
And we were even getting paid to do this.
Get paid to do it, yep. John McTiernan was sitting down just going, oh my God, what am I doing here?
Well, I like to tell the story too, Carl, of my most famous line in the movie, I Ain't Got Time to Bleed, had been cut. It was gone. We weren't doing the scene. And I was very disappointed in that, but then we lucked out because Montezuma's revenge got Arnold. got sick, and time is money, so they had to resurrect scenes again. They called me at 8 in the morning. They said, "Can you be at the set in an hour?" I said, "I'm on hold today. What for?" They said, "We're going to do I Ain't Got Time to Bleed." I said, "I'll be there in a half an hour." I said, "I'll be right there." Because I wanted to do that scene. And Carl, you may have forgotten this, Richard Chavez was a veteran. And so Richard and I were in that scene. We both wanted that scene because we were the two guys who were veterans. And we wanted very much to do that scene together. And because Arnold got sick, we were able to do it. So way to go, Arnold, and way to go, Montezuma's Revenge.
Well, you know, crazily enough though, that line is one of the most memorable lines in the movie. I ain't got time to bleed. I mean, that's a badass line, you know? And then, on top of that, you did remind me because Richard was the first one to go. Richard? Was it Richard? No, it was Shane. It was Shane Black. And trivia, Shane Black wrote Lethal Weapon. I don't know if you knew this. I got a chance to read the original Lethal Weapon while we were shooting. While, you know, this was before they made the movie, and Joe said, you know, this I think maybe is going to be my next movie. And I read this thing, and I sat down at lunch. It was that good. The script, the story was that. I read this thing at lunch, and usually for me, it took me a couple days to read the script because they're usually not that good. You know, you kind of stumble through them. But man, that was like reading a John D. McDonald novel. You know, just whoom. But yeah, there was some. We had some. Oh my God, the times we had on that. Bill Duke, and of course Arnold is.
The thing I loved about Bill is the biggest pacifist you'd ever meet. I mean, the last thing Bill Duke would ever do would be pick up a weapon and shoot someone. I mean, he was as pacifist as you could be. But I'll tell you what, the day he got to shoot that minigun, I saw a whole different Bill Duke. He came back, his nostrils were flaring out. He was, and I looked at him, and all I did was I smiled a little, and I said, "Hey, Bill," I said, "shooting machine guns is kind of fun, ain't it?" And he looked at me, and I said, "Don't worry, I won't tell you Maharishni or whatever, Anya." But I said, "It's kind of fun," and Bill smiled and said, "It is."
And by the way, that gun was the real deal. That normally is mounted on a helicopter. That thing weighed, you had to carry it around.
75 pounds.
I mean, that was, and when it, you know, when you're firing rounds off, that's a hell of a lot of torque that puts on you. But we had fun. There's so many stories about Predator and Puerto Vallarta and Van Damme being the first Predator in a chicken suit. I mean, it was just crazy. That was weird. Do
you know what I think the problem was with Jean-Claude? He got down there, and then he found out no one was going to see his face. He was going to have this hood so no one would recognize him. And then all he did was start complaining how hot it was. He sounded a lot like Donald Trump when he didn't go to the World War I.
Oh boy.
It's raining. I can't go out to the cemetery. It's raining.
But I digress.
I used that on SEAL team once that we were supposed to go out on the ambush, and I told my commanding officer, "Sir, it's raining. I can't go out when it rains."
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can everyone make your way to the concert hall for the cosplay masquerade starting at 5:30? Thank you.
It's that meal again. It just keeps, you know.
What do you want to do now? Keep talking or take some questions?
What we'll do is probably take some questions because we have about 10 minutes, Jesse. Like 10 minutes. Just letting him know.
That'll give you about one question for me.
I'm going to use this microphone, so if anybody
Pick out a good one.
any questions.
The other thing I'd like to know from Carl, maybe he'll tell us. Carl, I never realized you fathered so many children. Oh, this latest Apollo Creed stuff.
Let's not talk about that, will you? I didn't know I had fathered that many children either, but sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Hi there. My question is for Jesse Ventura.
Yes.
I heard you on a podcast previously saying that You took Vince to court and sued them, so now you're the only one in professional wrestling with a pension. Would we ever see you back in WWE?
Will you see me back in the ring?
And WWE, in the wrestling business?
At WrestleMania?
Ideally.
Well, first of all, I got out to LA and I hadn't been out there in a while, and I think Carl can help attest to this. You get off the plane, you go down to baggage claim, and who's waiting for you there? But what the hell is that, Levin, those guys? That shit on TV, Hollywood, whatever it is. You know, Levin, the lawyer, where they do all the gossip crap. Honestly, no, I don't. Wait. What's that show? That guy? Oh, with the cameras and all that? Oh, man, yeah. Well, I get off the plane and they're right there with the cameras. So my attitude is this. If you tell them the truth, they won't like it, so they'll make shit up anyway. So I figured I'd rather just make the shit up to begin with. And that way I put the onus on them. I bullshitted them, let them deal with it. So when I said that, I heard WrestleMania was coming to Minneapolis apparently in 2020, I think. And so I had gotten back in great shape. So I looked at him, I pulled up and I said, hey, 67 with a six-pack. I'm getting ready for WrestleMania. This guy, you're coming out of retirement? You're coming out of retirement? I said, you just gotta wait and see.
You're a legend, Jim.
I don't get in shape for nothing. So to me, it's just playing the media's game back on them. And having been a governor, I know the game well. Anyway, who's next? You know what we should tell them about? You might be interested, Carl. You know our famous scene where I spit on Carl's shoe? They had to shoot that in 2 parts because the helicopter can't fit. So they have to shoot my part of spitting, then they clear us out, then they get Carl's part of receiving the spit. So you gotta figure out how do we make this happen. So I had to start the morning off chewing Red Man and Copenhagen, a combination that will really get your saliva glands going. And so I had to spend all morning spitting into a cup until I got it about that full of tobacco juice and spit. Joel Silver, the producer, and I looked at it and we both said, you know, it needs something else. And we came up with it. We went over to the lunch thing and we got 2 eggs. We broke the eggs and used the egg whites and we added that because it gave the texture a little bit better. And then the way it got shot, of course, they had to shoot me first, so I gotta load the mouth up and all this and do the big spit like you're throwing up. So I get done with my shot of spitting, then they clear us out. Carl gets in, puts the foot out. They've got this in a cup. So I didn't really spit on his boot. They had a guy there throw the cup of slop all the way across Carl's shirt, am I right? Yeah. So there you got the backstory. It took literally a half a day and 2 egg whites to make that spit come up to par.
Now there's a great title, A Half a Day and 2 Egg Whites. That's the book, man, that's the book.
Hi Carl, this question's for you. Obviously at the beginning of the film Predator, there's an iconic scene where you and Arnold are locked in an arm wrestle. I just wondered how much of that is, obviously Arnold had to win, but how much of it was competition for you?
Oh, okay. I had to have an interpreter, I'm sorry. Man, some of the accents here, I thought mine was thick.
No, Carl, we're normal.
Oh, okay. Now I understand. How much of it was competition? All of it was competition, and I actually won. But it was written differently, so I had to let him win. Okay? What can I say?
Hey, we had a lot of physical specimens on this.
Yes, we did.
I don't have a question. I have actually a wish. If there would be a Creed Part 3, I would be really appreciate if I would see Apollo Creed Part 3. Somehow, maybe it's a dream from Rocky Balboa or.
Okay, my interpreter doesn't understand you, so you know I'm having problems.
I just would like
So something about Creed 3? Creed 2 just came out. What do I know about 3?
If there would be a Creed Part 3, I would like see you in the Part 3.
Oh, okay, well,
But maybe it's just a dream.
He wants to know if you got another son.
yeah, yes. Wait, our interpreter has it together now.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think I got it actually, see? Yes. So here's the thing, man. I mean this in the best of ways. I don't care. I have nothing to do with that movie. I'm happy that they're doing well, that people want to see it, that people have a lot of good things to say about it. There is only one Apollo Creed, but that has nothing to do with this. Hey, I would like to do one thing. This young man has had his hand up so many times. Give him a shot here. Let's hear what he's got to ask. I want to hear what this guy with the blue face has to ask.
What was your favourite part throughout the whole Predator film?
My favorite part? From the whole Predator film, my favorite part. Well, there were two favorite parts. One was seeing Jesse Ventura get his whole chest blown open. I mean, is that cool or was that cool? That was cool.
Let me add in, when they put that on me, none of these guys would sit down at lunch with me. I had to eat by myself in the corner.
It was pretty grotesque, okay? So, I mean, that's number one. The second part was when Bill Duke was stabbing the hog, thinking it was the Predator, going crazy. When the net was there and he thought he'd gotten the Predator and he's stabbing him and going crazy. I just love that. That made me laugh so much. Because you know what? Guys do that. They go crazy at times, So those were my two favorite parts. What was your favorite part? That's what I want to know.
Wait a minute, Carl. First of all, you got a problem asking him that question. That movie's R-rated.
No, he's seen it.
He's
seen it because his
dad
dad
took him.
No, your mom took you, didn't she? Did your mom take you? See? I knew it, because I met him and his mom earlier, and his mom said she was a big fan of Predator, so this guy's talking about Predator.
I always catch him on that when the little kids come up. I go, what is he doing watching Predator? It's R-rated.
He likes gore. He likes seeing a guy's chest blow open. That's what he likes. Yes, anybody else?
Actually have a question for both Jesse and Carl. So, Jesse, when you left the WWF to do Predator, I know the whole story, if Vince would not have hired you back because NBC wanted you for the contract on Saturday Night's Main Event, would you have quit wrestling and continued as an actor, or did you already have at that time political aspirations?
I had no political aspirations whatsoever. I can answer that at that time completely. Had Vince and what was the rest of the question? Would I have kept? What would I have done if I wouldn't have wrestled? Gosh, I don't know. I can't sing or dance. I don't know. I've always done something. The thing that happened, if we can backstory a little, when I got the role of Predator, Vince McMahon told me I couldn't do it because he needed me in the WWF. You're not doing it. And I quit. I said, fine, Vince, I quit. Because to me, getting a co-starring role with Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't know if Carl had been cast yet, I don't think he had yet, but getting a co-starring role with Schwarzenegger in one of his films, I could always come back to wrestling. You're not going to get a second shot at that, maybe. So I quit wrestling. When I left Vince, I quit. Well, what happened was, while I was doing Predator, Vince had to sign for a second year of NBC. How many remember NBC's Saturday Night Main Event? Would air every third week with Saturday Night Live. Well, NBC bought it with Jesse Ventura on the mic. And all of a sudden the first show came out and Jesse Ventura was not on the mic. It gave me great leverage when I came back to re-sign with McMahon. In fact, I tell people it was at that point I was the first wrestler in history that made Vince McMahon deal with an agent. Not even Hogan made him do that, but I did. And so, what would I have done? I don't know. When I quit wrestling, I got into talk radio. I live a life very much like the great Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra said, when you come to a Y in the road, take it. That's what I do. I come to a Y and I take it, and I don't look back. I don't worry about the other road. You've taken this course, see what this brings. And so, who knows what I would have done? Talk radio. I will say this, Arnold said to me once, when I was going to move to LA and become one of the boys, and I had 2 young children then, the son set a Predator. And I said to Arnold, I said, well, Arnold, the first thing I asked, what about the schools? You know, because I got kids and they were young. And he gave me what he thought was the best answer, but it was the worst. He didn't know it though. He said, Jesse, you don't worry about the schools, you put your kids in private school. And I sat for a moment and thought about that, and I said, do I really want my children growing up in a city where they cannot go to public school, that they would be required to go to private school? And it probably hurt my career, but I refused to move to LA. I stayed in Minnesota so that my children could go to Minnesota public school and live in an area where they weren't required to go to private school. I just thought that was better for them, and at that point in my life, they took priority over anything in my career. The career would survive, but your kids, you only get one shot with them.
Nice words.